Barakatay Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Speak What You Know. And pretty much this is an observation that I've made, in light of everything that's going on right now, with the different situations, different, just in general, but also, dealing with Great Millstone, different camps and different things that are going on. I felt that through the Spirit, this would be a good lesson to speak on, because it's all centered around the word experience. Because, you have brothers out there that, beautiful speakers, they get down teaching, but some brothers out there that are speaking, they're speaking as if they've been in this thing for the last 20, 25 years or so, and the problem with that is, yes, we're supposed to be confident in what we teach. Yahushua taught as one that had authority. Beautiful. But then, you get into this thing sometimes too, where you have certain brothers out there that, try to push the same energy that Elder Apostle Tahar or Elder Apostle Gabar or other apostles and bishops and elders that have been around for a while try to push. And what happens with that is, it's good, to teach the truth and be passionate, and bring out, the words, and give it all you got, leave it all, on the spiritual, on the spiritual floor, so to speak, but at the same time too, when you're speaking about things that you've never experienced, you can't give another brother that might be going through something advice, as if you've been this guy that's been, dealing with that particular situation, for the last 10, 15, 20 years or whatever the case may be. It's just like having somebody, that had a problem, at the job because of the truth, and they lost the job, and understandably so, they might be a little nervous at first, because that's the flesh. And here it is, you got another brother giving them advice and trying to do whatever, and he's never lost his job for for the truth. You know what I mean? And he's kind of getting on the man, I'm just speaking in general. I'm not speaking about anybody in particular. I'm just speaking in general. He's getting on this brother that lost his job. Look, brother, you just got to deal with it, man. You just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with it, man. Blah, 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 and then 6 months later or a year later, he loses his job for the truth and he falls apart. That's hypocritical. Or you might have a brother that, one of the hardest things, in the truth is losing your woman, losing your children. That's a hard detrimental blow, and, you have brothers that get on camera, and firing London and Titan flying out their ass, it's an inside joke, but I'm serious. London and, I don't even know how to say it right, saying it like that so long. Thunder and lightning are flying out their ass when they're teaching the word, and cursing brothers. Are you lukewarm? I'm talking about trying to mimic Apostle Tahar or other brothers that come in that spirit. You lose your woman, you just got to deal with it. You lose your children, you just got to deal with it. But then it comes upon you, and guess what? You fall apart. That's hypocritical. That's why the name of this lesson is Speak What You Know. In light of everything that you see going on right now, the Spirit's been heavy and hot on Elder Apostle Rakah, to curse you guys out. Because you got a lot of phonies out there. You got a lot of, man pleasers out there. You got a lot of individuals that are, that are just going through the motions, and full of shit, basically. So, we're right around the time of the Passover. Every year the Passover comes around, something goes down. We're about a week and a day, because tomorrow evening will be, 1 week, countdown to the Passover. So we're like a week and a day away from the Passover. All right, today being Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. All right, so it's best, if you are a young man in this thing, to teach, things that are profitable to the body. But when it comes to trying to give advice, about losing a woman or losing a job, and you've never experienced that, you can give an opinion based off of what the scriptures say, but at the end of the day, you can't speak like you're this authority, like you've already went through that many times and it didn't faze you. Because when it does come upon you, the scriptures say, judge not, lest you be judged, for with whatever judgment you judge, it shall be meted unto you. All right, and that's a scripture that Elder Bishop Sakaran loves to quote a lot, But I'm going to read this precept that the brother put up. Sirach 5:12 is an excellent precept. If thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. And how does understanding come? By knowledge and wisdom. Understanding doesn't come first, then the knowledge and the wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all I get and get what? Get understanding. If thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth. All right? And there's another good one here too. Ecclesiastes 32:7. Speak, young man, if there be need of thee, and yet scarcely when thou art twice asked. So you have to know when to speak and when not to speak. There's a time to speak and a time to refrain from speaking. Like we always used to say back in the days, the Lord gave us 2 eyes and 2 ears so we could do more observing, more hearing, and 1 mouth so we could do less talking, especially coming in as a young man. Because I've witnessed, I'm watching different videos and I'm, brothers getting down, but I'm like, damn, this brother's speaking like he been in this thing for the last 30 years, and I'm more so focusing on, loss of things for the truth, because those are really the proving grounds. When you lose something and you could, you could still maintain, then, there's hope. There's some serious hope there. And we know that the perseverance and endurance and being able to, stay in that lane, so to speak, all comes from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, because it's a gift from the Lord. All right, so we want to build on this word experience. It says experience. Go through mental or physical state or experience. Undergo or live through a difficult experience. Undergo an emotional sensation or be in a particular state of mind. And we're going to further break it down, but these are the proving grounds. When Job went through what he went through, he lost everything. And on top of that, the one person that he should have looked to for comfort, she kicked him down while he was down. He lost his children. They were raids done on them. They stole, the stuff. They burnt stuff down. I mean, he lost everything. And then the one thing that should have gave him some type of comfort, and help at that moment, turned their back on him. His own woman. You see? So if Job was, like, let's say Job went through all of that and he got through it and the Lord blessed him. Now, when he speaks about that, he's not just speaking about it because he read it from a book. He's speaking about it because he actually experienced it, actually went through it. All right, so let's go to the first precept I got here, Ecclesiastes 25:3. If thou hast gathered nothing in thy youth, how canst thou find anything in thine age? Right, because at the end of the day, let's find this one. Just bear with me while I find this. I thought it was in... Right. Let me just pull it up in another tab. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 11. And what verse was that again? 20. So it says, be steadfast in thy covenant, which is the covenant that the Lord gave to us, and be conversant therein, because these are the things that we're supposed to be speaking about. And wax old in thy work. Remember what the scriptures say. Matter of fact, I have a what you call it here. Let me pull this one up. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12, and then we'll jump, we'll keep going back to the other precepts, Lord's will. Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth. Why? Because the Lord calls a young man for what? For his strength, and an old man for his wisdom. But that wisdom is not something that you just get overnight. It's something that's built upon. It's something that you go through. It's an experience. Before we read on, let's get the word experience real quick. The word experience, right? Late 14th century, observation as the source of knowledge. Why? Because you've actually went through these things. You've observed them. You've actually been in there. You've been tried, because the word experience simply means X, out, and perience comes from the word peritas, which means out. Try. So to try out. So when you have experience, that means you've tried out. Like you could give me two so-called carpenters, one that's book smart and the other one that's hands-on. If you are a man of wisdom, you would choose the man that's hands-on instead of the man that's book smart, because he read about it. He's never actually been in the situation to deal with certain situations. The one that's hands-on, he's experienced situations. He's run into problems and had to solve those problems. See? And that's what experience is all about. Going through things, experiencing them, so that you can put it in your mental Rolodex, so that when it comes around again, you know what to do. If someone comes up with the same problem, you can give them counsel, and the counsel won't be something that you just read in a book. It's something that you've actually gone through, experienced, right? It says from experientum, experience, active, industrious, to try, test, right? So X out, and experire, which also goes back to the word peritas, means to try. So to try out. So how do you become tried out? By going through the different trials and tribulations, things that are written in the scriptures that we're supposed to go through in order to pretty much test our character. And whatever the outcome is, it's all already arranged by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So I'm just, mentioning this as a point. There was another point that came to mind. To try out. There was another point that came to mind, but it kind of escaped my mind right now. If it comes back, Lord's will, I bring it out. Bring it out. All right, so now we go to the word experience is the best teacher. Meaning, it says, proverb, you will learn more from things that happen to you in real life than you will from hearing about or studying things that happen to other people. Because the best teacher would be one that has actually experienced these things than someone that's only read about it. And some brothers, when they get on the camera, certain things that you talk about, right? I'm just speaking in general right now. Some certain things that you talk about or speak about, you've never experienced that. So you can't tell a brother, you're weak, man. You weak. You get your shit together, man. You weak, And then the same shit you judging that brother on, maybe 6 months later it comes on you, and then you fall apart. You fall to pieces, like Patty Klein. I believe that was her name. Inside joke, but true. So just be mindful of that when you're teaching. Of course, we teach with passion, brothers out there teaching, with authority, of course. Confidence, beautiful. But like it says, speak the things that you know. If there's something that you've never experienced, but here it is, you getting down on the brother because he's going through it at the moment, and you just lighten his ass up, you know, because you're acting like this great individual, this great guru that has gone through all these things. Then hey, when it comes on you, you better be able to deal with the judgment that you gave that brother. Because sometimes some of you guys out there, when it comes, and I'm just speaking in general now, when it comes to your woman or your children or your family members, and they might do something to you and they ask you for forgiveness, you'll forgive them. But then when it comes to the brother that's in the faith with you, you won't forgive him. You'll hold a grudge, or you act like you forgive him, but you still hold a grudge. That's wicked in itself. Here it is, a brother apologized to you. He thinks everything is everything is cool, and here it is, you still bringing the shit up because you still didn't get over it. That's wickedness in itself right there too. So building on that, let's go to Ecclesiastes 34:9. It says, a man that hath traveled knoweth many things, and he that hath much experience will declare wisdom. Why? Because he's actually been tried out. He's actually been through the things that he's talking to you about. That's why he can break it down to you, and you're like, damn, were you there when I was going through this? In a sense, yeah, because he actually went through what you're going through. So he can actually give you the words of wisdom, not saying that brother that hasn't gone through a situation can't give you, the words of wisdom from the scriptures to comfort you. But he can't, really comfort you as much as a brother that actually went through it, got through it, and came out on the other side winning. That's why, as the name of the lesson is, speak what you know. It says, he that hath no experience knoweth little, but he that hath traveled is full of prudence. Why? Because he's seen many different things. He's been exposed to a lot of different things. And he that hath no experience knoweth little. It doesn't matter how book smart he may be. He might know a lot of stuff out of the scriptures. He might be able to quote, all type of scriptures, but he's never actually been tried on certain things. That's the difference. The proving grounds. And hey, it's not easy. Being in the flesh, having emotional attachments to whether it's a woman, to whether it's your family, to whether it's a friend in the world, or whatever the case is. Severing ties is a very hard thing to do emotionally because of the flesh. But spiritually, it has to be done. You see? So, moving on. I want to get this word here, experience, because I'm going to show it to you in the Old Testament, Genesis 30:27. And Laban said unto him, I pray, he was speaking to Jacob, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. Because the first time Jacob did things for him, he got blessed, and he really didn't think too much of it, because, I'm Laban, this is my shit, I'm good servant. Then the next time it happened, and he was like, consider it, still, Then the next time it happened, and the next time it happened, after a while, I said, damn, since this man's been here, I've been greatly blessed because of him. Why? Because he's experienced that. He actually witnessed it. He's seen it over and over again. So we look up the word experience here in the Old Testament, and the word there is nakash, which, if I'm not mistaken, that word nakash goes back to serpent. Because it could be to practice divination, divine, observe signs, learn by experience. Diligently observe, because when you go through things and you diligently observe them, you learn from them. Practice fortune teller, take as an omen, to observe the signs of omen. So the main points here is learn by experience, diligently observe. All right? Yeah, so learn by experience. So that's what he did. He observed by watching Jacob and how he kept being blessed every time Jacob would touch something of his, and he noticed that. But that was an experience, just like whatever Joseph did when he was in Egypt was blessed. You see? So I just wanted to get that in the Old Testament as the word experience. Now in the New Testament, Romans 5, we're going to start at the first verse. Romans 5:1, it says, results of justification. Therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with the Most High through our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. Not of ourselves, and that's why Yahushua is to be worshipped. By whom also we have access by faith into this grace wherein we stand. Right. And it's by grace. We can't achieve it by the keeping of the law. We keep the law to the best of our ability, but we know that justification doesn't come by that, but by Yahushua. It says, and rejoice in hope of the glory of the Most High. Yeah, because this is what we're doing. We're rejoicing in the hope that the Lord sent His Son to justify us of the glory of the Most High, which is what? The kingdom of heaven. Yahushua already said, it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom of heaven. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also. Why? What are tribulations? These are trials, things that we go through. Knowing that tribulation worketh patience. And patience is what? Suffering. You go through something, you suffer it, and then afterwards it builds patience, which patience is a virtue. But when you read the scriptures speak about suffering wrongfully. But for some reason, guys don't want to suffer wrongfully. They don't want to, be put in a situation where, they want to be put in this, I'm right. They want to be put in a situation when they're always right. Sometimes you might get dealt a messed up hand, and you just have to deal with it and let the Lord vindicate you. But you have those out there that they just won't have it any other way. They forget about that. Yahushua suffered wrongfully. We understand the greater picture, but when he came here on the scene as himself, he didn't do anything to merit that. He was perfect, and he suffered wrongfully. But here it is, you got to go through a little turbulence, and fuck that, I ain't gonna deal with that shit, fuck that. And you would notice that the brother that takes the back seat, so to speak, and say, all right, whatever, then he becomes justified by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua because he's in the right. Even though a judgment might be given to him that is proven, that the judgment is wrong. But in the long run, the Lord is the one that justifies because he sees what's going on. But some guys, because you know what? Most, Jake, that's in America, have been brought up under that same, emotional woman spirit. And that shit is contagious. And even now, in all these different camps, you still got individuals, and we all get emotional. We've all, most of us was all raised here, brothers that are in America, that were raised in America. We go through those emotions, but it is what it is. But you have some individuals that are in just pickled in that shit. There was another point I was trying to make, but it kind of escaped my mind, so obviously if the Spirit want me to bring it out, then I'll bring it out. But then we go on from tribulations, which worketh patience. Because if you don't go through anything and then all of a sudden you start going through them after so many years in the truth, you're not going to be able to, you're going to be unnerved because you've been riding in this thing without any turbulence. So when the turbulence comes, you're not going to know how to handle it because the earth underneath you is going to be shaken. You're going to be unstable because you've never gone through anything. You see, that's why experience is the best teacher. Now it says, and patience, experience, and experience hope. You see, so there's a walk for lack of better words, a process that you have to go through in order to become more stabilized. Now we look up the word experience in the New Testament, and the word there is dokime. And the word dokime, right, is proving, trial, approved, tried character. So that's what the scriptures say: commend no man before thou hear him speak, because that is the something of all men, the trial of all men. You know, a proof, a specimen of tried worth, right? Because you've actually gone through it, and it goes back to the Greek word, root word dokimos, which means approved, tried. And we looked at the word experience. The word experience is tried out, tried out. Now we go to St. John chapter 3 verse 8. This is Yahushua speaking to Nicodemus at night. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh, and whither it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. That's why it says that the spiritual man receives these things, but the carnal man cannot receive the things of the Spirit, because they are spiritually discerned. You know, and in becoming spiritual, there are certain things that come our way that we have to deal with, you know, and it's not always easy. You know, it's not always easy. It's not comfortable. You know, and we get, you know, you start to squirm and get upset, you know. We all do. But then, you know, the Spirit kicks in, and then, you know, you start navigating through it, because as long as you stay in that spirit, you ain't gonna get through it. But then when you knuckle up, pray, you know, then, you know, the Spirit start working with you to give you solutions on how to deal with that situation. And that situation is happening to you so that you can have that under your belt as an experience. But at the moment, it don't seem good. No chastening for the moment seems to be joyous but grievous. But after you go through it, it works to, you know, it builds your character. You know? So it says, Nicodemus answered and said unto him, how can these things be? Yeah, because he didn't understand about being born again. He thought that you had to go back into your mother's womb. But Yahushua basically was telling him, you got to put off the old man and put on the new man. You got to give up this prestigious, you know, position that you're in, like the Apostle Paul did. And he said he counts it but dung, that he may win Yahushua. Because he said straight up, my justification don't come by the keeping of the laws, but by the faith in Yahushua. In so many words. It says, Yahushua answered and said unto him, what? Art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things? Right, here it is. You this guru that's been around for a while. They call you teacher, master, rabbi. And you don't know these simple facts? It says, verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and you receive not our witness. So we speak that we do know. So speak what you know. You know? Here it is. You never. Some brothers may have never experienced a woman. Some brothers may have experienced a woman, but never experienced, you know, her leaving because of the truth, or whatever the case may be. But here it is. You on the camera. You weak ass nigga. Now you lose your woman. You fall apart. But here it is. You never went through that. Now it's one thing if you in that spirit and then your woman leave you. And then, you know, you're going to be messed up because you have those emotional attachments, but you still fight through it and stay, you know, the course. And only Yahweh Bashem Yahushai can give that spirit, because it says that he that pleases the Lord shall escape from her. You know? But for the most part, a lot of times individuals that do that, they fall apart at the seams. Here it is, the Lord got the spirit on you to be an energizer bunny. You're doing 1,000 videos a week, and you're cursing everybody out because they ain't keeping up with you. You know? But the slightest thing happens to you and you just fall apart. Trust me, we've all been there, you know, growing in this truth. You know, certain situations happen, you know, you go through that turbulence, you know, but then you just got to knuckle down. And then, you know, that's when the spirit kicks in. And you have to overall pray. You know, because a lot of times, you know, brothers get in situations and they don't pray. They're trying to figure it out on their own merits, on their own, you know, wisdom. First thing should always be pray first, and then after that, then, you know, everything else falls into place. All right. If I have told you earthly things and you believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? Now moving on to the next precept, overseers and deacons, because you're coming into this thing to learn to become a teacher. You know, but at the same time, you have to have gone through situations, experienced certain situations in order for you to be able to be put into that position. You just can't have a brother just come into this truth and all of a sudden he's a camp leader. You know, unless he just happens to be a brother that just, you know, went out speaking and he's the camp that he has, there's nobody else around, and he's just out there speaking and teaching. You know? But for the most part, you don't just put a young man into that position. That's why the scriptures say, lay hands suddenly on no man. So it says, this is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. Yeah, because a bishop is someone that will be overseeing the flock, making sure that things are running correctly, that there's no isms or schisms in the body, that the doctrine is being taught right, that they're learning. They're not just stagnant. Because sometimes you got to put fire on the brothers, you know. You got to do and say certain things to get, you know, to ruffle feathers, so to speak. But the men at the time, they might get upset with you, but then when they see the benefit of what you're doing, because you're not just doing it now. If you're doing it to be a tyrant, that's different. But if you're doing it because you want the best for brothers, for them to grow in this knowledge. Then when they see the benefit, they're going to love you even more. Like a father, when his child, when he's growing up, his father's hard on him, but it's because he's trying to teach him life lessons of what to expect. Things are not always going to be easy. You're not always going to be a child. And then later on, you learn to respect the power of love. Inside joke. I mean, you know, it's a song, but I mean, I'm being a little funny with it, but it's true. You learn to respect, you know, the love that was given, because true love is hard love, you know, and that's really true love, because you're putting the person in the mindset of not to always be, you know, in that jokey, you know, playful, having fun spirit. You know, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. So it says, so now we jump down to the 6th verse. It says, not a novice, see, not a neophyte, a new member just newly come into the faith. Least being lifted up with pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil. And we've seen this happen time and time again. Those 2 and 3 precept dudes, learning dudes, or cats that come into this thing, they learn 2 or 3 precepts, now they're master teachers. You know? But prior to this, they didn't even know how to wipe their ass correctly. Then they learned from men that have been laboring in this truth, you know, for decades, experienced all different types of things, you know, but then no, they're the authorities now. You know? A neophyte, a novice, lifted up with pride and fall into the condemnation of the devil. Because once you're there, it's very rare for you to be able to come out of that situation. And you brothers, we've witnessed it before YouTube era, but you brothers that's been around, going back to 2007 to the present and in between, you've experienced and seen different individuals come in that same way, become prideful, and what happens? They end up falling into the condemnation of the devil. Some guys are so bugged out there. Now they're denouncing the New Testament. They're denouncing Yahweh Shai. And these are the same men that made oaths that if you can confound my teachers, great millstone up in 34th and 7th, you know, I'll denounce the name of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Well, guess what? You denounce the name of Yahweh Shai. You know? Hey. Thine own mouth condemneth thee. Now moving on, Ecclesiasticus chapter 3 and 25. Without eyes thou shalt want light. Profess not the knowledge, therefore, that thou hast not. Right. Don't try to wing things when you're breaking them down, but also don't try to be an authority in something that you have no knowledge of. Here it is, you're a marriage counselor, and you ain't never had a woman. You giving brothers advice about losing their women and children, and you never lost your woman and children. Now, don't get me wrong, you could give advice according to the scriptures, but know that if that comes upon you, now you have to reflect back on what you told that brother. It's that's pretty much it. Let's read that again. Without eyes thou shalt want light. Profess not the knowledge, therefore, that thou hast not. What else do I have here? Ecclesiasticus 11. Okay, we already read that. And we already read that. We didn't get a chance to go back to this, but pretty much the point there was dealing with prudence. All right, so we're going to come back to this. So we had a couple of precepts. But let's go back to this point here, because we know the Spirit led us to go to other precepts, but let's go back to this. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and 3. If thou hast gathered nothing in thy youth, how canst thou find anything in thine age? Right, because you didn't gather this wisdom in your youth. You spent time just playing games. Now you got nothing to show for it. Right? Now let's go Ecclesiasticus 11 and 20. And be steadfast in thy covenant, and be conversant therein, and wax old in thy work. Because Ecclesiastes 12:1, remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Right, so in the youth, that's when the Lord wants you to come into this thing and learn. All right, but there's a process. A brother he put the scripture in there earlier, dealing with speak, young man, if need be, and scarcely twice after you've been asked. And some individuals don't practice that. We've seen it many times. You got these young men, they're just running at the mouth, talking over the elders, over men that's been in this thing longer than them, and not being able to discern when to shut the fuck up, point blank. So going back here, let's read this again. We'll close it out on this. Ecclesiasticus 25 and 3. If thou hast gathered nothing in thy youth, how canst thou find anything in thine age? Oh, how comely a thing is judgment for gray hairs, and for ancient men to know counsel. Right, because that's what the gray hairs are for. If they be found in righteousness, the hoary head, like the scriptures say. Oh, how comely is the wisdom of old men, and understanding and counsel of men of honor. Why? Because they've been experienced. One word, like King Mashal always used to say, experience, which means to try out. It says, much experience is the crown of old men, and the fear of the Most High is their glory. Right. Because there's also instances where the Lord said he takes away the understanding of the aged. So that's pretty much it. Much experience is the crown of old men, and the fear of the Most High is their glory. So just keep that in mind, brothers. When you out there, when you teaching, whether you out in the streets or whether you wherever, it's beautiful to teach with authority. Always. But just remember that if you haven't experienced certain things and you're trying to, or you're speaking like someone that has been experiencing those situations, whether it be losing your woman, losing, family members, whatever the case is, just know that when it comes around to you, you better be able to hold that same, that same energy that you're pushing out there on that. And especially if you are being hard on a brother that's going through something that you've never gone through. Just remember that. Yahweh Shai said it best. Judge not, lest you be judged, for whatever judgment you judge, it shall be meted out unto you. You know? Keep these things in mind, man. So with that, yeah, this is a good point. Matter of fact, I read this precept from the the up and coming elder Gabar Yahweh, the Ecclesiastes 5:1. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the Most High, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. That's right. And then the brother here said, a good example is Rehoboam. He took counsel from the young men instead of the elder men. Right. The young men gave him the wrong advice. That's right, which he put the correction advice. They gave him the wrong advice, and that is true. They gave him the wrong advice. And what happened? When they gave him the wrong advice, he wasn't well, and then really they gave him the wrong advice because the Lord fooled Rehoboam and those men that gave him that advice, because it was for the fulfillment of prophecy, for the kingdom to be separated, because Ahijah the prophet already said that would happen. With Rehoboam, he ripped the garment in 12 pieces and gave him 10 pieces. Yeah, this is a good precept too. Proverbs 13:20, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. I always quote, it's kind of corny, but I quote EPMD, for those of you that might remember EPMD, Parrish Smith, which was PMD's name. He said that his father told him that if you hung with 9 broke friends, you're bound to be the 10th one. So watch the company that you keep. So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified and your few sisters. Until the next time I say Shalom.